We are back with episode 2 of the podcast that still does not have a name. So make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe. I appreciate y'all for supporting for whoever does. And please continue to help me with the podcast name. A lot of people have been hitting my TikTok with different things, and I appreciate that because I'm really just trying to come up with something. I told y'all that 2026 is the year of commitment to the podcast. So here we are. I'm committed to it. Long form content like this definitely takes more time for preparation, more commitment. You really have to have time on your hands to sit down and do this. And I really want to dedicate, 2026 to expanding and being versatile on all these content platforms. TikTok has been going beautiful, all these other apps, but I want to start this as well. And I know I've been pushed to do it for the last year, so I definitely do not want to let anybody down. So make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all help me as much as y'all can with different ideas on the podcast name. Today, we are going to hit on Erika's alibis that has failed twice in this Fort Huachuca timeline or situation that's going on. I know that nothing new has happened, but I just don't want to let it go away. And maybe somebody out there doesn't know about this information. So I definitely wanted to hit on that because I have not talked about that on this podcast. So we're going to talk about Erika's alibi and how that has failed. And it's going to be very interesting things that you're going to see. She dropped some pictures of, her kids. And is it really her kids? You know what I mean? It's going to get real interesting. Then we're going to talk about Tyler Bowyer. Tyler Bowyer dropped the interview with a group on YouTube. I forgot their name, but we'll be able to see what their name is when I pull it up. And it's very interesting on some questions that he had to answer, and he didn't seem too confident. A lot of word salad, a lot of beating around the bush, a lot of PR answers. So I wanted to share that as well, share my thoughts on it, allow y'all to see it as well. And so let's just hop right into it. Let's get into Erika's alibi. So let's talk about timeline purposes, like timeline on where this all started with Fort Huachuca. So Mitch claimed on December 18th that he saw Erika at the hotel on the Fort Huachuca base. Now, a lot of people were talking about, they were trying to debunk Mitch's allegation because Mitch has a past of, with ex-wives and women and all of that. And I think that it's all a distraction. I think that when anybody attacks your personal character versus the point that you're making, I think that there's some truth around that. Because there's a reason why you're going after somebody's character. You don't want to address the point. And that's exactly what they started doing with Mitch. Instead of addressing what he saw, because that has nothing to do with his past. It has nothing to do with what women he's dealt with in the past or what, son that he hasn't seen in 20 years. All it is what he saw. But when he said what he saw, the whole X timeline went after his personal life. And once they started doing that, they honestly proved that what he's saying has some truth to it. And so Mitch claimed that he saw Erika Kirk on Fort Huachuca's military base at a hotel in a hotel lobby on September 8th. Then on September 9th, Mitch stumbled across a heavy, military personnel type meeting on the early mornings of September 9th or something like that. Or maybe, September 9th, September 10th, something like that. And then on his way home on September 10th, Charlie Kirk was, eliminated. So all of that plays obviously a lot of important factors into this Charlie Kirk story, because if what Mitch is saying is true, if he saw Erika Kirk at Fort Huachuca on September 8th, then now that puts Erika in the plotting of her husband's death, not just the cover up, because there's people that play a role in the cover up and there's people that plotted this whole thing. And I feel like if she was there, then she is a part of the plotting and planning of her husband's murder. Now, what he said he saw. He said that he saw Erika Kirk in the hotel lobby with another man. Now, this other man, he suggested could be, or alleged could be, Cabot Phillips, which is Erika's ex-boyfriend that she lied about, or Brian Harpo, which is head of security at the time for Charlie. Now, what's interesting about how he described the situation in the scenery or the scene on how he saw Erika, is what makes me believe him, because he said, I saw a woman in a hotel lobby and she was a blonde and she had striking blue eyes, and she reminded me of a specific ex I had, because there's those eyes are dangerous, kind of scary. But he didn't know who Erika was at the time. He just said, oh, she looks like an ex of mine, pretty striking, kind of, a little scary and intimidating. So he thought nothing of it. September 9th came, September 10th came, Charlie's, assassinated. And it led all the way up. It went all the way up to the memorial of Charlie Kirk. And when he saw Erika on the screens everywhere at the memorial and speaking, he said, oh, snap, that's who I saw at the hotel, in the hotel lobby. So I think it's interesting that a lot of people think that he was just, trying to pile on to the grieving widow train and everybody, hating on Erika, all that. But I think it's interesting because he had no idea who Erika Kirk was. He just went off of, she looks like my ex. And then when he saw her on the TV at the memorial, he put two and two together. I think that's very important. I think there's no, in that situation, there's no motive for him to just personally go out, go after Erika Kirk. He's just saying, hey, you look like my ex. And I just noticed that you happen to be on TV as well at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. And I found that very interesting that you was in Fort Huachuca, because why were you there? So very interesting things. But everybody said, well, if Erika wasn't there, then she should easily be able to prove that she wasn't in Fort Huachuca on September 8th. Everybody has security cameras at home. I can pull up right now with this moment where I was on September 8th. Pull up my Ring camera. I can show me walking out the house. I can show me in the kitchen. I can pull up pictures on my phone on what I was doing on September 8th. I could pull up text messages from September 8th. I think it's pretty simple to debunk somebody that is trying to place you in a specific place, a specific spot on September 8th. But instead of proving that she wasn't there, Erika goes silent. Erika doesn't say anything for a while. This starts brewing. Everybody starts demanding answers from Erika, but she still doesn't say anything. So obviously, the longer this goes by, the more guilty you look. Now, there's a lot of people out there that would say, oh, well, Erika doesn't have to respond. Erika doesn't have to respond to anybody. That's cool. Well, you also have to be okay with the backlash for not doing that. You can't have the best of both worlds. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be the person that say, I'm not going to respond to anybody, but then get mad when people are demanding a response or people are accusing you of being guilty. If you don't want to be accused of being guilty, prove that you weren't there. It's pretty easy. But she doesn't, until she finally did. On December 26th, so the claim happened on December 18th with Mitch. On December 26th, Erika is working with Andrew Kovac, and Andrew Kovac sends over text messages in a screenshot or whatever to Paramount Tactical. It's a YouTube channel. Hopefully I pronounced it right. In an attempt to provide an alibi for Erika Kirk. Only problem is it failed in many, many ways. Let me share what the original alibi was. They sent this over to Paramount Tactical. I should have pulled up the clip of him sharing these text messages. And Paramount Tactical was reading these messages. Let me see if I can pull it up really fast. Don't want to waste anybody's time, but I also want to be able to provide some proof on what I say and not just believe what I say. Let's see. Okay, the moment Andrew Kovac was accidentally outed on. Cool. So I found it. Here is Paramount Tactical. I'm going to get back to this screenshot because this is very important, but I wanted to lay out how it was presented to the world by Paramount Tactical. When Andrew Kovac attempted to share this message with Paramount Tactical to kind of like sneakily provide an alibi for Erika instead of just sending the alibi straight to Candace or, on their own social media pages, because Mitch is the one that claimed it. It wasn't even Candace, it was Mitch. But instead, they sent it to Paramount Technical. And this is what was said.
Is exculpatory and proves that Erika wasn't there. Prior to this, I sent Andrew Colvett a message. I was like, hey, do you have any proof that Erika was not at Fort Huachuca on the 9th? And this is what I just received. This gets a little complicated. Let me remove this for a moment. And let me remove this. I want to show you these text messages I just got. And you guys will see this. I think it's a nice quick break from this. All right. Hopefully, just so you guys can see what's going on, just so I can see what's going on here, because that screen's small for me. But I asked him, hey, do you have proof of this? He says, but it's worth saying Erika wasn't in some fort in Tucson. The internet has gone insane. She woke up next to Charlie on the 9th, went to the office with Charlie all day, woke him up from a nap before a fox hit, went to dinner with Charlie. Literally, people are lunatics. And then the next one, I will show you guys that one, the continuation of this. Right here we have this one, and then I'll show you an up-close picture with the metadata that we have on the screen itself. Proof, she was with her kids at 8:33 a.m. Pacific time, which again, in September, Arizona's on Pacific time. Taking them for a walk. Apparently I wasn't supposed to share that. But anyways, point being is that's 8:33 a.m. It shows the date on that. Sorry, Andrew. I screwed that up, man. I was trying to run a podcast and do everything else.
Apparently, he wasn't supposed to share that. Sorry, Andrew. The problem is he did. So let's figure out why he wasn't supposed to share it. Now, what was supposed to happen before I get to that is that he received those text messages from Andrew, and he was just supposed to read them out like this, just like how I'm talking, and just going off of like remembering what Andrew texted, or even just going like this and say, Erika was not at Fort Huachuca. I talked to somebody on her team, and they provided me with text messages to prove that she was with her kids. She wasn't in Fort Huachuca. She doesn't even know where that is. Or, maybe I want to go into, elaborate that much, because somebody can catch her in a lie on that. But that is what was supposed to happen. Instead, he shared the screenshot, which then it opens the door wide open to the internet and be able to decipher and read and analyze this screenshot. But this is what the screenshot looks like, right? It even says in the screenshot, don't share. He wasn't supposed to share the screenshot, nor was he supposed to reveal that Andrew Colvett sent this to him. So a lot of things, now that he did this, a lot of things that are wrong with this. This is apparently Erika's finger in this, photo of the kids that we're going to get to. And she is the one, she sent this to Andrew. So then that makes me wonder, why would, if you know Andrew, he's your employee, he's seen your kids plenty of times, why would she put her finger over her kids' faces to send it to Andrew? That means to me that she is attempting to provide an alibi because she knows Andrew's going to share with somebody. She wants to get it out there, but she doesn't want to tell Candace directly. But she wants to tell somebody. So a lot of people are like, Erika doesn't have to share with anybody. Erika, you know, she's not guilty. Whatever the case is that everybody's saying about Erika not providing an alibi, she doesn't have to, or she doesn't, you know, she doesn't care or whatever. Clearly, she cares because she is attempting to cover herself with this. But again, why not just send this to the direct source? She attempted to go through Paramount Tactical and sneakily provide an alibi, but it failed. So that's one thing that strikes out to me is why would you cover your kids' faces when this is supposed to just be for Andrew COVID? So to me, that tells me she was already looking to provide her alibi and cover something up. And she knew that this text was going to be released. You know, just in case it was exposed, just like it was, she covered her kids' faces. And even in the text message, it says, don't share. So Paramount Tactical wasn't supposed to say any of this or share any of this. He was just supposed to read it, provide it with a verbal alibi to his audience, and his audience was supposed to just believe him. But it failed. He shared the messages, so now it has opened the doors wide open. So now, not only wasn't supposed to share this, let's look at the picture of these kids. Let's zoom in on it, shall we? This is the picture of her kids. Now, one might wonder, or maybe not, one might think it's just normal, right? Just a normal photo. But this is very interesting because her son is supposed to be, I think, between 16 and 18 months right now. This picture that she took to apparently prove her alibi or provide an alibi that she wasn't in Fort Huachuca, this picture is on September 9th. Her son is supposed to be 16 to 18 months. And look how big this boy is. To put it in reference, I have a 2.5-year-old right now. So he's older than her son. He's 30 months. He's not this big. And he's a kid that's on the 88th plus percentile, like 88 to 90 percentile of height for a 2.5-year-old. So he's 30 months and he's not even this big, nowhere near. Her son is apparently 16 to 18 months and he got kneecaps. Whose son is that? Whose kid is that? And if you don't believe me, let me show you more proof that something's off. This was in December. This was in December on her Instagram page. So who is this? How was this in September and this in December? I'm just confirming really quick to make sure I'm not tripping. December 30th, 2025. So he aged backwards. Who is that boy? It's not really making any sense to me. Now, what's funny about the internet is that the internet is also able to provide kind of like AI on what this boy could potentially look like with her fingers, with her finger not covering their faces. This is what AI is generating that he could possibly look like. I mean, come on. Now, obviously, the face and all of that, nobody's really, accusing him of actually looking like this. The point is, it looks like a 4 or 5-year-old. This is pretty accurate. Just saying a kid that looks around that age would look like this. That matches this body. This is not her son. I don't know who it is, though. So not only did she lie about this alibi, because again, also nobody, you see the timestamp says September 9th. Nobody was asking about her whereabouts on September 9th. The whereabouts that was in question was September 8th. So that's one thing. But the main thing to me is, one, why was her finger covering the kid's faces if she was sending this picture to Andrew Colbert? But two, who is that boy? That boy is not her son or Charlie's son. Maybe she got a son with somebody else. That's not Charlie's son. That's supposed to be 16 to 18 months. No way. Look at this boy. Now, another thing is the girl. I can't really, girls are a little tricky, but you can kind of see the hair of this girl right here in the background. Now, this was a photo from her Instagram a couple of days ago of her daughter. And look at her hair. So I don't know about the daughter. It definitely could be. I'm not sure. But I do know one thing. That's not her son. Look at this. December 25th of 2024. And 10 months later, September, October, November, 9 months later. Oh, duh. 9 months later, look at this. It's impossible. That's not her son. So, again, I think this is a huge, 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 thing that's going on right now that I just don't want to let go. Because she tried to provide this alibi and it failed like crazy. And I don't want to let this go because I don't know who boy that is. That's not her son. The alibi failed in general, but the worst thing about the alibi is that she just sent pictures over of God knows who children those are. The daughter may be, but that's not her son. There's no way that this boy in 9 months grew to this size. He went from being held like a little baby to in kindergarten. That's impossible. So I'm not really sure. And on top of that, here's another interesting thing. Cabot Phillips provided an alibi. You know how old Cabot Phillips' son is? Around the same age as Erika's alleged youngest son. Now, look at the picture of Cabot Phillips' son. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I should have had this already. So my apologies for not having it ready. Look at Cabot Phillips' son. This is what Erika's son should look like. This is when Cabot Phillips provided his alibi on where he was on September 8th. So 1 day apart, this is his son, and Erika's son is the size of a kindergartner. But they're supposed to be around the same age. Erika's son in that picture was supposed to look like this. I'm telling you, something's off about this lady. Something's been off about this lady since she started talking. That's not her son. Now, that was on December 26th. That alibi obviously failed. Then on December 28th, her team, this is according to Candace, her team reached out to Candace saying, hey, here's another alibi proving that Erika wasn't at Fort Huachuca. And it was text messages that shows Erika texting Charlie saying, hey, dinner will be ready in this time and this time. Come up and eat, whatever. And that was on September 8th. Now, if that checked out, that would clear her from Fort Huachuca. The problem is, in those text messages, the name, like the contact name, was blacked out. So Candace says, hey, I need you to unblock the name so I can just see your texting Charlie, because you can text anybody. You can text yourself. And that's a valid concern. Like, why are you blocking the name? They didn't tell Candace that they blocked the name. They blocked the name because they didn't want Candace to reveal, Charlie's number and nickname to the world. And Candace said, why would I do that? That makes no sense for anybody, but definitely like disrespectful to Candace's intelligence. Why would she leak that? She's just saying, bro, provide the name. That way I can prove to the world that you were texting Charlie. Like, allow me to clear your name for you. So when she said, can you send over a screen recording of you texting Charlie and then opening up his contact name, clicking his name and his cell phone number pops up, I can match it and show that it is Charlie and clear you. They say, oh, Erika's busy with sick kids. She won't be able to do that. Again, just make yourself look more guilty. I don't know what, just clear yourself, bro. Send a screen recording over. It takes 1 minute max. They don't do it. Days go by, weeks go by, nothing from Erika's team. Don't know who from Erika's team was reaching out to Candace on this information. But Erika was working with Candace, indirectly through this person. Then they finally reached back out, probably last week, I believe, and says, or they just send over a contact card, Charlie Kirk's contact card, and says, here's his contact card to Erika's phone. That doesn't prove anything. That just proves you have his number saved. Thank you. Again, these people are acting incompetent. You know exactly what she's asking for. You know what Candace is asking for. Why can't you provide that? Why are you making yourself... There it is. Why are you making yourself look guilty? Just provide the screen recording. So, I don't know. Her alibi to me is very shady. She's lied twice. So to me, that's all we need. To just assume she was there at Fort Huachuca. I don't think she'll ever come out and admit or deny. Again, it would be dumb. It's been too long. Since December 28th. It's been way too, or my fault, December 18th. It's been way too long. She wouldn't come out now and say anything about Fort Huachuca. It just wouldn't make any sense. Because now at this point, what do we believe? You already lied twice since December 18th. Well, I wouldn't believe a thing you said. So she knows that. I don't think she's going to take it to the grave. If she were to come out and say something and deny it, that's when, apparently there's rumors going around saying that there may be a picture of her in the hotel lobby. There may not be, but I think she'll never say anything. So I really don't like the angle, of just waiting for Erika to say something about Fort Huachuca, because I don't think she will. So that was Erika Kirk. Now, I do want to move on to Tyler Bowyer. He dropped an interview yesterday with Latter Daily Saints. I think everybody calls them LDS. And just another person in Turning Point that sounds and looks suspicious, like they know something, or like they know more than what they are portraying to know. And let's go over a couple of key points that was shared in this interview, because they hit on a lot of things. But I want to provide a disclaimer. A lot of word salad, a lot. Failed to really just get to the point. Now, again, Tyler Bowyer is fairly recent in this Charlie Kirk investigation, because something came up with Erika lying about how they met. I believe maybe Candace or somebody asked Erika how her and Tyler Bowyer met. Tyler Bowyer is this individual that has a crazy past. He most recently was pardoned by Trump in December. So insane past, but is a person that has a high position in Turning Point. And just recently, Erika said that they met at Trump's rally in 2015. I'm sorry, I was blacking out. They met at Trump's rally in 2015, but that was impossible because in the memorial service, at Charlie Kirk's memorial service, Tyler Bowyer said out of his mouth, Erika Kirk called me before the Trump rally and asking, how can I help? And he said, I'll put you right behind Trump. So that's impossible for them to meet at the Trump rally when she called him before the Trump rally. When Candace pointed that out, that can't be true, that they met at the Trump rally, Erika Kirk then says, oh, I must have forgot how we met. I can't recall. So again, very convenient that you all of a sudden lose your memory once you're called out on a lie. Because if nobody had proof of that, her memory would have been amazing. Oh, I met him at the Trump rally. But as soon as somebody call you out that, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, oh, I actually don't remember. Oh, now you don't remember. Okay. But you were so confident that it was the Trump rally. So that is why he's an interesting character at this very moment, because him and Erika kind of got a weird history, because he and Erika knew each other before Charlie, which is already very strange. Then he was also the one that convinced Charlie. He said this in a memorial service. He convinced Charlie to come down from Chicago and kind of build Turning Point in Arizona. So, and then he also was the person that hired everybody around Charlie. Very strange character, but I wanted to click on a couple different topics on Tyler Bowyer. So let's start with actually how him and Erika met, since that's what I just hit on. Let's see what he had to say. Let me share my screen so y'all can see it. Let's see what he had to say. How did him and Erika meet? Pretty simple question, right? Let's see what he says.
I probably wouldn't want to ever associate with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, thanks for sharing that. I think it's great to get kind of a behind the scenes perspective on that with Erika. And in relation to this topic about Erika, I know a lot of people are wondering, just a quick question on this. There seems to be, and maybe this question will be trivial to you, but to people on the internet, it would be good to clear it up. So there seems to be a discrepancy on when Erika says you and her met, and when you say you and her met. So I believe she says you met at a 2015 Trump rally, and then there was a discrepancy on when the meeting actually happened. Just if there's a short answer to that, would you mind maybe clearing it up?
It's actually really simple. Is what she said is true, and what I've said is true, is that we had met by phone prior to.
1 second. How is that possible? What she said is true and what I said is true. That's impossible. So we met before the Trump rally and we met at the Trump rally. That doesn't make any sense, but let's see what else he has to say. Off to a bad start.
That 2015 Trump rally.
Mm-hmm.
So the background is, and this is important for people to understand, Erika was 2012 Miss Arizona. So she's part of the Miss Universe world, right? So the Miss Universe world, which was owned by Donald Trump, all of those people, and this isn't unique to Arizona, this is everywhere across the country. Those that participated with that were kind of, very friendly and kind of fans of Donald Trump. So when he decided to run for president, and remember, this is June of 2015 that he announces, I think it was. And then almost immediately after that, I get a phone call in Arizona to asking if we wanted to host a fairly small anti-illegal immigration event in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had wanted, this was part of the president's early strategy, that when he was then candidate Donald Trump, was to do to talk about illegal immigration as being like kind of a core piece of his thing. And so where else would you go than Arizona? So they call, what I suspect, they start working on their network.
Are we going to get to how y'all met? Nobody cares about any of this. How did y'all meet? Tell me. Phone call, coffee, out of college. That's it. Nobody cares about any of this other stuff. Let me give y'all a quick backstory on, no, if the backstory is on how y'all met, cool. I don't care about any of this other stuff. What are we talking about? It's been almost a minute and he hasn't answered it yet.
Works with the Miss Universe contestants and pageant winners from the past in Arizona. And many of them, it's not just Erika, but many of them, and I've known a few Miss Arizonas through, there's a lot of people that get involved with the pageant world that end up in politics and things like that. It's not unique to Erika. but she had been contacted, and someone had said, "Hey, Tyler, who was the chairman of Maricopa County at the time, I was, this young 20-something-year-old chair that was running this whole thing, is in charge. Here's his number. Get in touch with him." And so we had gotten in touch about showing up to that. But yeah, our first face-to-face meeting ever was at that 2015 rally. And then after that, I had encouraged. I was like, "Oh, you're awesome! Like, thanks for getting involved." But of course, again, we put the former Miss Arizona on stage behind the president. With all of that, but. So two things can kind of be true at the same time, which is I had mentioned that we had spoken before. Yeah, we had spoken before. We had actually physically met. Our first time, I think, ever meeting was at that 2015 rally when she showed up and she was part of it and everything else. And it was like, wow, that was cool because that changed the world at the time.
Yeah.
When we hosted that event, that became the first Trump rally.
I see what's going on here. And you know what? I'll actually apologize for jumping the gun. It was a lot of word salad. But what he is saying is that they met over the phone prior to the Trump rally. They talked a few times, but they didn't see each other face to face until the Trump rally. I don't know. But that's what he's saying. I can understand, but I don't know. I just feel like, it's kind of odd to me. Calling Tyler Bowyer and feeling so comfortable to do that. Maybe they talked a few times, but I just think also we got to remember Erika claims that she doesn't remember once she was called out about it. She claims she doesn't remember that she had all of these phone calls before the Trump rally. She said, "Oh, I didn't meet Tyler Bowyer until the Trump rally." Tyler Bowyer explains it better. I'll give him that. A lot of word salad, but he explained it better. But when Candace confronted Erika about it, that's impossible for you to have met Tyler at the Trump rally. She says, "Oh, I guess I don't remember how we met." So interesting. Let's see if he said anything else before we go to the next one.
Ever that was ever hosted. And so anyone that was part of that, the cool part about this, which again, calling good things evil and evil things good, people calling this evil, which is kind of bizarre to me. It's like Erika was literally part of the first Trump rally ever. That's how we met, which ultimately ended up with her meeting Charlie. And Charlie, and again, I've told this story a lot of times. I thought she was way too big of a fish for Charlie to reel in at the time. I was like, because Charlie had not dated that many people. He had, and I was a little bit concerned because she's awesome. Like, she's like through and through. Again, just to speak to her capabilities, she's incredible. She's an incredible human being. We wanted to get her involved on her face side.
It's interesting he said that. It's interesting he said that he felt like Erika was too big of a fish for Charlie. And I think that actually plays into the arranged marriage part. Because he knew Erika before meeting Charlie. He felt like Erika was too big of a fish for Charlie. However, Erika put on a facade that she was perfect for Charlie. Christian woman, this and that. Erika wasn't interested in Charlie. Not him personally. Tyler Bowyer knew that. So I feel like everybody around Charlie knew that. And she put on this facade as if she was this perfect woman for Charlie and played it very well, clearly. And unfortunately, because I've thought the same thing. I said, nah, Charlie ain't pulled that woman. She ain't pulled that one. He ain't pulled that woman. He also, to me, because of how manipulated he was by her, it was also kind of like he knew that she was out of his league as well. Because I feel like he was wrapped around her finger in many different ways until it was too late. Maybe he was coming off that finger. And what happened is what happened. So I think it's interesting he said that, because I feel like everybody knew that Erika was out of her league, but it was all part of the plan. So to settle how they met, I can understand where Tyler Bowyer is coming from about, hey, we talked on the phone a couple times, but we never met face to face. But we finally met face to face at the Trump rally. That does make sense if he's telling the truth. Now, let's go into the original narrative, the FBI narrative, the Fed slop narrative. Tyler, what is your opinion on the Fed slop narrative? Do you believe it? Let's see what he says. Let me pull it up for y'all.
To it. Candace, she's explained from the beginning that one of her motivations in, you know, diving so deeply on this is because she personally doesn't trust the FBI narrative that's currently out there, that Tyler Robinson was a lone conspirator, that it was, you know, motivated by leftist ideologies and stuff, and that he used the Mauser 30-06 and acted alone and stuff like that. And so I'm curious, like, not just from like the Turning Point standard, but like from you, do you feel that the current narrative of what the Federal Bureau of Investigation has come out with, do you feel confident that they're on the right track with that?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind that this is a state level investigation. So local authorities are the ones that are running point on this murder investigation. And so I want to first start off by saying that anything that I've seen where people are, you know, trying to ignite, I think, the internet to be upset about how this is going, you know, quote unquote, you know, I'll use air quotes, how this is going, are people who are, you know, questioning usually the federal government, which again, I totally empathize with. At Turning Point, we run an organization where we say, hey, the government is questionable. There's a lot of things that are not to be trusted. And, you know, coming out of 4 years of Joe Biden, it's understandable why a lot of people would question the intelligence agencies. Kind of where my headspace is, you know, there is an investigation under that's being carried out right now. There's a ton of evidence that, you know, again, one of my good friends, Jack Posobiec, has pointed to pretty religiously that shows the involvement of Tyler Robinson, who they apprehended. But the big question that most people have asked is said, well, where did he come from? What is his motivation? Everything else. That's all part of the murder investigation. So they've laid out what is publicly accessible to everyone. And by the way, there's no difference between what I've seen and what the average citizen has seen.
Tyler, do you believe the original Fed slop narrative? That's it. Not do we think Tyler Robinson was involved? We all do. We all do. But do you think he actually pulled the trigger? Do you think he was the one that pulled the trigger? Do you think the original narrative? Do you believe that? Do you believe the original narrative? Do you believe that Charlie was shot with a 30-06? That's it. And he's talking about the tons of evidence that points to Tyler Robinson being involved. Again, involved, we all believe he's involved. But the tons of evidence that Erika says they don't have, they may be coming across it now, but at the time when Erika was asked about it, there weren't tons of evidence. She claimed that there was. She claimed that there was, excuse me. But when she was pressed about it with Candace, she says, no, we only have what the public has. What the public knows is what we know at the moment. So it again contradicts. But again, let's get to the point. Do you believe that Tyler Robinson, the original Fed slop narrative, Tyler Robinson acted alone? He shot Charlie with a 30-06. Do you believe that? Simple question. Yes or no, Andrew?
Is, you know, there's all of this evidence that's pointing directly and making a strong case for an individual that's been accused of murder. And we don't know all the other surrounding pieces of evidence that could come out as part of this investigation, and those are going to be relayed over the course of the next number of months ahead that best put authorities in the position to go after the proper suspects and, again, the proper motivations. And so what concerns me a little bit is that people are demanding answers to things way ahead of a complete investigation, a trial that is probably not going to occur. Yeah, many have speculated that it won't occur until early 2027. And so I think people just aren't aware of the timelines. You know, again, the average citizen. And so they're thinking in terms of like, well, you know, this matters a whole lot to me because Charlie mattered to me, which I totally get that. Being one of his closest friends is like.
He still hasn't really hit on it. The biggest thing is, bro, nobody cares about that trial. The longer y'all continue to wait, Tyler Robinson is going to get convicted for pulling the trigger. Nobody cares about that because he didn't pull the trigger. Nobody cares about that. every year that goes by is a year that whoever actually did it is still a walking man or woman, free walking man or woman. So they keep on talking about that. When it's like, no, bro, nobody cares because he didn't pull the trigger. So no, I'm not really invested in this heavy investigation of them putting, different fake proof on him about pulling the trigger when he didn't. Then again, they keep on talking about this huge investigation. Bro, the original narrative is a case closed narrative. So when they say this heavy investigation and they're still, I'm like, bro, you have the autopsy, which wouldn't prove that it's a 30R6. It would prove otherwise. But the original narrative is saying that it should show a 30R6. You have the murder weapon. You have confessionals that he wrote to his lover and different manifesto notes. And you have the murderer. You have the killer himself. You have the suspect. It's a case closed textbook investigation with the original narrative. So it's like, how can y'all say all of this, but then at the same time on the original narrative, it should be a case closed investigation. So to me, it sounds like he doesn't even believe the original narrative. He won't say it, but I don't think he believes what he's saying. He knows that there's something else. He knows. So he just, a lot of word salad, a lot of the same things that everybody else in Turning Point is saying, but they're really not saying anything.
I want this thing to be over tomorrow.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not how murder investigations and big trials that the entire world is conscious of. That's not how these things work, unfortunately. And so, we want this to go swiftly and as justly as humanly possible. But at the same time, you can't have the internet making demands around every bit of.
I can't make it no more. Well, what are we talking about? I can't make it anymore. I can't last. It's just, what are we talking about, bro? So I'm not sure where Tyler Bowyer was going with that. I think it's just, again, another PR answer that they are trying to give us, but I don't believe that he believes in what he's saying. He knows that there's more to the story. I don't think he believes the original narrative, but he can't say that. It's similar to Andrew Kovac. These are people that are a part of the cover-up. I don't necessarily think that they were part of the plot or the planning, but they're part of the cover-up. So he seems uneasy when he's talking. So this is all scripted that he's trying to go off of and make sure he doesn't stray off of it. Then on top of that, there was a part, this would be the last thing, of Erika becoming CEO. Because we all know Charlie Kirk stood firm on the woman's role in a traditional marriage. And that is taking care of the kids, being there in general, emotionally, and all of that. Not saying that a woman can't work, but a woman taking on a huge CEO position or a huge boss babe role where they're going all the time, on the road all the time, Charlie was not in favor of that. But Erika Kirk has lied. I think she's lying because she has said out of her own mouth that Charlie said that Erika would step in and run Turning Point so beautifully. She'd be a great CEO of Turning Point one day. That was out of her mouth. And I don't believe it for one bit. So, great question by LDS that asked Tyler Bowyer, how he feels about Erika stepping into the role of becoming CEO, considering the fact that Charlie Kirk has forever been against it. Let's see what he had to say.
You've had some very interesting conversations in that regard. Thinking about the aftermath of, the routes that Turning Point has taken after in terms of leadership and whatnot. There's a clip that you probably have seen, but Brandon, if you want to pull it up there, of Charlie and Erika on the Charlie Kirk show, and they're kind of talking about, women pursuing careers and how to organize priorities and stuff like that. And then seeing, what has kind of happened in the aftermath of Erika taking, position as CEO. I want to roll this clip and then kind of hear your thoughts a little bit more about it.
It shows that married women with kids are the happiest. Why do you think that is? I mean, it's just nature. I mean, just becoming a CEO of a shoe company is not going to give you happiness.
Women have it so mixed up. You can have a career after children, but if you try to have a career while you have your kids, there is no such thing as balance. That is such a myth. I can't spend half of the day doing one thing. I missed out half of that time with being with the kids. So you have to choose where your heart has to be fully with the home. You have to make that decision on your own, but you can always, after your kids are in school or after they're in high school, you can always go back to work. You can always find a way to get back into the workforce. But if you miss those precious first few years, that is so hard to make up because memories are so much more important than an added paycheck. And he
pause. So
out of her own mouth, she says, missing those first few years of your kid's life, you can't get back. Her youngest son is 16 to 18 months. Her daughter is what? Between 3 and 5? Could be wrong on her daughter. But I know her son is 16 to 18 months. Everything she's doing right now at this moment is going against what she said. So Charlie said it, but she also said it with her own words. That stepping into a CEO role is not really the smartest thing to do as a mom. As a mom, not as a woman, as a mom. So now, not only are you a mom, a wife, now she's in a situation where her husband, unfortunately, is gone. So now you are a widow. And she stepped into the role of being a CEO of Turning Point, and now is gone all the time. She's going against her own word. So people can't get mad at me when I say, bro, she ain't taking care of her kids. What happened to that? She seems like she's gone all the time, whether they're in good hands or not. It's not her. That's what she said. She needs to be the one with them. So it's not me judging her. She's the one that said that the mom needs to be with the children. Yeah, the kids could be with the grandparents, but they must be with the grandparents all the time. That goes against what Erika says about motherhood.
After seeing that, and then seeing, so quickly after Charlie's assassination, her being put into the CEO position, can you maybe shed a little light on, what went into that whole transition process? And is she, really super involved in the day-to-day? And what was the thinking behind putting her as kind of the new face of Turning Point?
Well, look, I'll just address this first by saying, Erika is one of the strongest people. I mean, anyone that's a widow in any circumstance, the scriptures say this. I think just as normal.
Stop. Nobody cares. Nobody. I'm sick of hearing it. Nobody asking about the widow stuff. Nobody cares, bro. Nobody. How do you feel about Erika going back on her own word? That's it. Simple. Don't tell me she's a strong woman. Don't tell me about, I don't care about none of that. How do you feel about her saying one thing, but then acting in another way? That's it. What she's doing right now goes against what she said months ago. How do you feel about that?
Human beings as men in particular here is that you should look after widows. Mm-hmm. You should be, we should be, people attacking a widow. And again, it doesn't really matter what's the level of spotlight they have. The broken heart that she has, the amount of pressure that just from losing her husband is one thing. Mm-hmm. Charlie, for better or for worse, was the person who repeatedly said, if anything ever happens to me, I'd like to see Erika kind of continue the mission. I'd like to see her do.
Charlie never said that. I don't believe that for one bit. He never said that. Never said that. But it's a trending thing going on right now with Turning Point claiming that he did. Charlie never said that. Charlie was on the road apparently all the time. All the time. They talked about his schedule all the time. He was on the road all the time. So I refuse to believe that if he was in a hypothetical situation while he was alive, and which actually was crazy because Erika said that somebody asked him that, what would happen if you were to die, which is a whole other topic. But in a separate hypothetical, if someone said, if you were to die, how would you want Erika to be as a widow? There's no way that he would say, I want her to step up and take over my company and be me, be on the road for 300 days out of 365. There's no way he would say that. He had a firm stance on the woman's role in a marriage, in a traditional marriage. There's no way all of a sudden he would just go to, no, a woman, a mom, a widow should be on the road for 300 days out of 365 and be gone 24/7 doing interviews and this, that, and the third. There's no way he would say that. They're lying on this man.
The work that I do. Why? Because, I think, obviously outside of carrying his name, and his heart and the passion that, she understood it better because she spent, outside of probably myself, Erika probably spent more time with Charlie one-on-one than any other person on this planet. And so, in the few short years that they had together as a married couple, but prior to that, they had dated extensively.
I don't believe that. I don't think that Erika's the person that's been with him more than anybody else. If he's been on the road for 3/4 of the year, probably even more, like 3.5 quarters of the year, I don't think that Erika would be the one that he was with the most. That's just a quick lie that I also feel like that needs to be pointed out.
Through that, and he trusted her fully, 100%. And so it's a hard thing to be approached by people to say, well, what's going to happen if something happens to you? Heaven forbid. I think his wish for that is kind of a blessing and a curse type of a thing, right? Which is, the blessing is that Erika is incredibly strong, incredibly capable. I think she has a lot to bring to the table that's going to be able to help young women. The thing with the negative side of this is that, she wasn't asking for this. This isn't something that like Erika, wanted to do. It's not like she was seeking it out. It's not like she was building a career to try to become CEO of Turning Point. She, this is something that has fallen on her shoulders that she stepped up to very.
Nobody made her do that. I don't even want to listen to no more of that. Nobody made her step up to this role. You cannot tell me somebody witnessed, everybody, this whole world witnessed her husband get killed in front of thousands of people and 1,000 cameras. And you telling me Turning Point said, Erika, we need you to step up. You have to do it. They went to the grieving widow, somebody that they keep on saying that everybody's attacking. They went to the grieving widow and said, you have to step up and be the CEO. You have to. Like, how dumb y'all think we are? Nobody made her do that. I would think that nobody in Turning Point would come to her and bring that up in a time that's supposed to be so detrimental and so hard. Kids trying to understand what happened to daddy. Like family, like everything that's going on. The internet, because the internet was going crazy. Like in a negative way. Everybody was, a lot of people was talking trash about Charlie when he died. So there's no way out of all of those things going on, but specifically her own mental, her kids, and family in general, there's no way anybody would go to her and say, we need you to step up. We need you to be the CEO. She owns the company through marriage. She could have sat back and just owned the company in the dark and made decisions here and there if they needed her, if she needed to veto something. Nobody said you need to step up and be the face of the company and we need you to be Charlie now. That wasn't thrown on her. She chose to do that. And no, she didn't choose to do that because Charlie always wanted her to. No. It's so much video footage and evidence of Charlie completely against women in this type of lifestyle with kids. So Charlie didn't tell her to do that. This is not, oh, we have to continue Charlie's legacy. You're going against everything that you said, Erika. She the one that said women shouldn't do this. Women shouldn't be doing what she's doing. She said that. But Charlie also said that. So somebody lying. I don't believe that Charlie wanted, not even that. I know for a fact Charlie would not want her to be doing what she's doing right now. But understanding that also makes you realize that this is what she wanted to do. Personally, selfishly, she wanted to step up and be the CEO. She wanted to be the face of the company. She wanted to be the boss babe. She wanted to be Charlie before Charlie. I think she was actually low-key jealous of her own husband. Y'all know that whole like Aisha Curry and Steph Curry thing going on? Like, I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, the whole like Aisha Curry is low-key jealous of Steph because Steph is really big, but she actually wanted to be the one that was big. This sounds just like that. Erika wanted to be Charlie. Charlie got all the money. He got the $100 million company. He got the private jets. All the attention's on him. Everywhere he goes, the cameras are on him. She's just a wife. She doesn't want to just be the wife. She wants to be the person that is everybody has to report to. All the cameras are on her. When she goes to events, she opens up, stage, fireworks everywhere. She wanted that lifestyle all along. And she took this opportunity to get that. This was all selfish, a selfish motive. This wasn't, and they're trying to disguise it by saying this was Charlie's, this always is what Charlie wanted. This is, you know, what they say, this is going through Charlie's legacy or continuing Charlie's legacy. No, it's not. They're lying on this dead man. I don't know. It's crazy to me, but it's you should definitely go watch the Tyler Bowyer interview. There's more to it. Very painful to watch because he is a lot of word salad throughout the entire interview. Every question they have is a 2 to 3 minute response when I feel like a lot of these questions be yes or no. They're lucky I'm not an interviewer. I will be one day, but I will be straightforward. Like if somebody gave me an answer that's like 2-3 minutes long and it's like a PR type answer, I'd be like, listen, bro, you ain't answered a single thing I said or asked. Do you think the Fed slop narrative, do you believe in it? What's your opinion on it? Don't give me the runarounds. What is your opinion on it? Do you believe in it? Yes or no? Answer that first and then go. You can elaborate after that. How did you and Erika meet? Cool. If it's any type of long PR answer, I'm not going for that. That doesn't, I would say it. That doesn't make any sense. Explain it maybe better. Your timeline isn't making any sense. I would ask many questions, but I think, yeah, I mean, you know, some interviewers, I think they did overall a great job. I would just love somebody out there to really press these people. I would press these people and just get a straightforward answer. Or at least I'm on record attempting to get a straightforward answer. And then that's on you if you want to look stupid on YouTube or on, you know, national, on the internet, avoiding my straightforward answer. You know what I mean? Versus just like allowing them to BS the answer with a PR answer. I wouldn't even do that. But y'all should definitely go watch it if you haven't. Tyler Bowyer on YouTube. Well, not Tyler Bowyer on YouTube. This company is Latter Daily Saints, LDS. Latter Daily Saints exclusive interview with Tyler Bowyer. And it's interesting. I like to watch these people, you know, their mannerisms and how they're nervous and don't really feel confident in what they say, just to prove, again, that they're all guilty of something. Don't know what. But I appreciate y'all for listening. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's continue to build. Let's continue to hopefully get this podcast in 2026 blown up to the point where I can just fully commit to this thing and really just lock in. Please, again, help me with different podcast names. Let's get this thing rolling. I'm excited. I'm excited for this new beginning. I'm excited for this podcast. And I will be back with episode 3, hopefully very soon. I'm attempting to be very consistent. I apologize in advance if it may be a day or 2 late, maybe 3 or 4 days late. I'm trying not to go, moving forward, I'm going to try not to go 3 days without another podcast. But thank y'all again. Make sure y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to see y'all next time.